Hello everyone and welcome to another Follett House Friday. My name is Jeremy and I'm the Museum Services Manager for the Sandusky Library and Follett House Museum. And with today being Christmas, I thought I'd pick something that continued with our theme. And I found something in our archives. It's normally on display here at the library, but you might not get to see it and you probably wouldn't be able to read it real well. So I have a menu from the West House Hotel. The West House Hotel was built here in Sandusky in 1858 by brothers W.T. and A.K. West at the corner of Columbus and Water Street. And it was one of the predominant hotels in Sandusky, originally built just in time for the Ohio State Fair in 1858 here in Sandusky. And it remained a popular hotel until it closed in 1913, and eventually the building was torn down in 1918, unfortunately. But I have a menu from their restaurant from Christmas of 1891. So I'll show it to you guys so you can see it. It looks really neat. And then I will just read through some of the stuff just so you have an idea of how much they actually offered. Unfortunately, there's no prices, which is a little disappointing, so I have no idea what their meal costs, but this kind of gives you an idea of what was offered and the entrees. Some sparkles from last week's Follett House Friday. So here you go. Here you can kind of see it's an interesting shape. I know it's kind of hard to read on the camera, but it's a really interesting shape here. It's all cut out and everything, so they would have had this specially printed for this. So top says menu, then they have appetizers of olives and celery, and then there's soup course of green sea turtle and chicken soup. Then they have a couple different fish dishes. They have a boiled whitefish with a hollandaise sauce. They also have a boiled pickerel with an oyster sauce. Then they also have a boiled course, which was ham with spinach and chicken with egg sauce. Then they had what they call remove, kind of like almost like a main course, which is sirloin beef, and then they have a loin of pork. They have game course of duck, venison, quail, or goose. Then they have entrees, which pairs well with a claret punch, which was small oyster patties. Now, oysters to us, that sounds weird. Why would they be serving oysters in Sandusky? Oysters in the late 1800s in the U.S. were really popular. You find recipes in all sorts of cookbooks and mentions of how popular they are. It was one of the really popular foods to eat all throughout the U.S., and they were shipping them from the East Coast where they're being cut to all over. So it was a really popular dish, and especially in wealthier homes where they could afford it, or in nice restaurants, you see a lot of different ones. They also have a rabbit dish with pineapple, which I think is kind of interesting that they did have pineapple in Sandusky in the middle of winter in 1891. They also had a braised livers of fowl dish, a couple different salads, a chicken a la mayonnaise, and a shrimp salad. They have cold dishes of ham, chicken, and tongue, probably beef tongue. That's usually the most common type of tongue that you see on menus. A couple different types of vegetables, mashed potatoes, string beans, boiled potatoes, mylan sugar corn, and vegetable oysters, which I'm not 100% sure. They have a couple different desserts: mince pie, lemon pie, ice cream, wine jelly, English plum pudding with a brandy sauce, and assorted different cakes. And they also have fruit courses of oranges, assorted nuts, bananas, raisins, apples, then of course tea and coffee. And there's some things on here that really jump out to me that you might not expect to see in Sandusky in winter. Bananas, I think, is kind of an interesting one. Oranges. The pineapple as part of what was that? That was the rabbit, the braised young rabbit with the pineapple. I think it's interesting that you wouldn't expect to see that in Sandusky in the middle of winter in 1891. And to me it's interesting, and food history is its own specialty that I've only looked at a little bit, but to see how our diets have changed and how shipping of fruit has changed. So I'm not sure how often they would have been able to get like bananas, pineapples, things like that, or how expensive they were. But we can see, they're serving them in a restaurant in 1891, so they must be at least somewhat readily available here in town. The oysters, once again, I think is interesting that was such a popular dish because, they're cheaper than it was now, but still very popular, very much, the style of the time. So with that, I'm going to end this Follett House Friday. I hope you all have a lovely Christmas. I hope you have a wonderful New Year. I will see you all, I think actually New Year's Day, January 1st is our next Follett House Friday. So I'll see you all then. So I hope you have a wonderful Christmas, New Year, and enjoy your weekend. Thanks for joining us for another Follett House Friday.